Now I would like to invite Professor Mrs. Dileeka01. She is a staff member of the Department of Electronic and Telecommunication Engineering in the Faculty of Engineering, University of Moratuwa. She holds a bachelor's degree in Electronics and Telecommunication from University of Moratuwa, as well as a master's degree and PhD from the University of California in USA. She is chartered engineer and also a member of Institutes of Engineers, Sri Lanka, and member of the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. It's up to you, madam.
Thank you. Good evening to you all, Honorable Minister and members of the distinguished panel, members of the audience. It is my humble privilege to be here today to make this short presentation on how telecommunications can spur economic development in Sri Lanka. So let me start with two important milestones. Just a couple of months ago, we reached a global milestone where the number of telephone connections in the world exceeded the world population. So what we call telephone penetration in the world has exceeded 100%. And you can see from this what has happened. The mobile connections far exceed the fixed connections. And this has been happening for many years, all through this decade. And let me also talk to you about a local milestone. The teledensity in Sri Lanka, according to statistics, exceeded 100% in 2010. This is a little different to what Mr. Lalit Viratunga said. Different statistics are in different places. So anyway, we are very near this 100% penetration, and maybe even a little bit more, depending on how you estimate these things. So this is anyway a very significant landmark for us. Then let's look at the current state of affairs in our country. I think this graph tells us a lot of things. One thing is, again, the ratio of fixed to mobile. And you can see the growth of the fixed telephone, and if I'm to be straightforward about it, you can say that the fixed telephone is dead. There's no future for the fixed telephone, and the future is in mobile. So this doesn't mean that all of our efforts in telecommunications should be on mobile or wireless. We need a huge supporting infrastructure, fixed infrastructure, to support mobile. But anyway, the mobile will be the future as far as the consumer or the user is concerned. And also another thing that we can see here is the internet penetration. Internet penetration is really poor. It is less than 15%. And I will come back to these figures later and see what these imply. Then again, where does Sri Lanka fit in the global picture? This shows penetration versus the per capita GDP. And Sri Lanka is just, according to this particular one, just below 100%. And we are, one special thing about this is that Sri Lanka is at the top of the region, the immediate neighborhood. So with this, and also it is obvious from this that there is a relationship between telecommunication development and economic growth. You can see a strong correlation. But what is this? What is the relationship exactly between telecommunications development and economic growth? Is it, what causes the other, or is it a two-way relationship? Many people have studied this, but it seems that there isn't any current information very much which really quantifies this relationship regarding Sri Lanka. But research results that are available in various parts of the world show some interesting relationships from which we can learn and from which we can perhaps plan our future in terms of telecommunications. So the first thing is that in European countries and in countries with high income, there is a two-way relationship, bidirectional relationship between telecommunications development and economic growth. That is, telecommunication development spurs economic growth and the other way around. And when we look at low and low middle income countries, to which Sri Lanka belongs, it has been seen that economic growth spurs telecommunication development, but not the other way around. So this is a significant difference between these two environments, and But when the impact of mobile development is evaluated separately, we see again the bidirectional relationship between economic growth and telecom development. So this is some results that are available that we can make use of. And also, what about the different geographical regions? When people look at the world as a whole, they have mostly found that there is no identifiable relationship between the two. But when people look at smaller regions of the world, there are clearly identified relationships. Again, Europe, you have that kind of a relationship. In Asia and Oceania, we have that kind of a relationship. So telecommunication development spurs economic growth. So if we want to adopt these results straightforward manner, this is fine. We belong to this category, and telecommunication development does spur economic growth. And on the other hand, in the Americas and Africa, economic growth spurs telecommunication development, but not the other way around. So we have all these results, and it is not, as was discussed in the morning session, Sri Lanka is in a somewhat unique place. So I'm not certain whether we can adopt the available data for Asia and Oceania in this case, or whether we should look more closely. Anyhow, I think it is interesting for us to look into the reasons as to why these relationships are so. So why is there a bidirectional relationship in Europe and in other high-income countries? So of course, one is high income. The other one is that the fixed telephone penetration reached critical mass very early in the development. Critical mass is defined as 40% of the population having fixed telephones. And also these countries have skilled and educated workforce. So these are the reasons why this mutually supportive relationship has been established. Right? And if you look at Asia and Oceania, why the relationship is so, this is attributed to these facts: lower delayed fixed telephone penetration. Like in Sri Lanka, fixed telephone penetration was very slow. And good literacy and the skilled workforce. We know, as Mr. Veeratunga said, we have a very literate workforce, a literate population. And the mobile phone arrived as an alternative to the slow penetration of the fixed telephone. So these things mainly have, the result was that the mobile phone spurred economic growth. So, and in Americas and Africa, this is Central America and South America and Africa mostly. These are large geographic areas, some sparsely populated, underdeveloped infrastructure. You can see all these other features, poor literacy. All these things resulted in telecommunication development not spurring economic growth, but the other way around. So there was probably no opportunities for people to use telecom effectively and cause economic growth. But when economic growth happens, people's affordability increases, and therefore telecommunication development happens. So what can we say? Okay, and other results show that most economic benefits are reaped at the point of achieving universal service. Universal service is every person in the population having a telephone. So we are right at that moment now. It may be plus or minus little